Hello friends, welcome to Literary Arena. Today we shall talk about a very important piece of poetry called Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. This poem, originally written in Bengali around 1900, was translated by Tagore himself in English in 1912. The poem occurs in a famous collection of poems called Gitanjali, for which Tagore was awarded with the Nobel Prize in 1913. In English, the collection is titled as Song Offerings. This you need to remember. The collection comprises 103 poems. This poem that we are going to talk about, Where the Mind is Without Fear, was originally titled as Prarthana in Bengali, which means prayer. So this is a poem, this is basically a prayer. Before we discuss the poem, let me say a few things about the context of the poem. As we know, the poem was written at a time when we were not free, that means our country was under the British rule. We were not an independent nation then. Therefore, this poem can be read as a document of historical significance. Remember, Tagore was an important intellectual and a very influential nationalist leader, or you can say nationalist intellectual. Not a leader, but an intellectual. In this poem, Tagore envisions India's future. He prays to God to make his country a place where there is liberty, freedom, equality and fraternity. So if you read the entire poem, we will discuss that. All these values like freedom, equality, bhaichara, fraternity, these are discussed very clearly. He comments on some of the socio-spiritual problems prevailing in the country, then such as lack of self-esteem, we were under the British rule, and socio-cultural differences because of which there was an animosity between animosity, apathy amongst various classes and castes and religions, and regressive traditions, sati, widow, immolation, all such things, socio-cultural differences, traditional practices, rituals. So remember, if I situate the poem in a pre-independence historical context, this does not mean that this poem has nothing to offer us in today's context. A great piece of art, as it is said, a great piece of art remains relevant despite the changes of time, and this poem proves this axiom, because this is universal in its appeal for a vision of a better world. Now let me come to the poem. First I will read the entire poem, then we will discuss the poem line by line. So the poem starts, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that freedom of heaven, my Father, let my country awake. So before I discuss the poem line by line, one important prosodic aspect, that means related to poetic beauty, you need to understand. In this poem there are many uses of a figure of speech called metaphor. In Hindi it is called Rupak Alankar. So let me briefly talk about this figure of speech, this alankar, metaphor. Metaphor is basically, as I told you in one of the discussion of the poems, the quality of mercy, like simile. This figure of speech also is like, there is a comparison made between two dissimilar objects, but as in simile, the words like as, like, so, they were used, but in metaphor there are no such words used. So there is a direct comparison. You can say whatever we want to compare with whatever kind of things, we directly say that this is this. Let me just give you an example, a very famous example. Saurabh Ganguly is the tiger of Bengal. This does not mean that he is tiger. We simply compare the quality, that is very brave, fearless. Okay, so metaphor means where some quality of some different object or thing has been associated with a particular person or object. So we say that this is this. Why I told you about this figure of speech? Because in this poem there are many uses of metaphor. So we will discover later on when we discuss the entire poem. So let me start the discussion of the poem. So first line says, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. See, he says where the mind is without fear. Mind is without fear means where people are brave, people don't fear things. Here it means that people don't have fear of some kind of harm that somebody caused to them. Okay, so people are living in a peaceful state of mind. They don't have any fears in their minds. And where the head is held high, that means where people live a life full of self-esteem, swabhiman, atmabhiman, garva. So people feel pride in whatever they do, whatever they think. Okay, so they have a feeling of self-esteem. Okay, then he says where knowledge is free. Knowledge is free, that does not simply means keep free of cost. Basically, knowledge is free from the politics of differences, like that only certain community, only certain kinds of people can get education. So this should not be the case. Tagore is referring to the tradition in Indian society when a particular caste or class of people were only authorized to study religious texts or other kinds of texts. Okay, a famous example is Karna in Mahabharata, where when Karna could not get education under Parashuram, the famous Brahmin rishi, because he did not belong to a particular caste. So because of that, so he is referring to that kind of practice, that there should be no differentiation or discrimination, bhedbhav, in the name of caste, color, creed, culture, custom, cuisine, such things. Then he further says where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. So he says where the world here you can replace with society, where the society has not been broken up, shattered, toot jana, bikhar jana, where the world has not been broken up into fragments. Fragments means small pieces by narrow domestic walls. So see here the use of metaphor. So narrow domestic walls simply means that those boundaries Okay, those barriers of caste, race, nation, religion, which separate one human being from other, so which separate mankind, which create differences amongst various kinds of people. Okay, so those boundaries, those barriers, those narrow thought processes should not shatter our humanity. Okay, so our world, our society should not be broken up into small pieces by such narrow attitude. Okay, then he says, where words come out from the depth of truth. That means where people are truth loving, they love to speak the truth, they don't have fear of other kind of punishment, that if they tell some kind of truth, out of fear they would resort to lie. That means they would speak lie. That's why he says, where words come from, the words means where the speech, whatever they say, whatever, you can also extend to action, whatever they say or do or think, it must be guided by the depth of truth. Okay, then he says, it's an important line, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. That means where people constantly try hard to reach the level of perfection. That means people are not lazy, people are not timid, coward, people keep on trying even after many failures. So this line is very relevant in today's times. When we nowadays we see that if somebody fails, he or she stops trying. Here Tagore says, people, let my country be like where people don't fear failures. People keep on trying, they constantly try hard to reach the level of perfection. They don't get dissuaded by failures or problems. And next line is an important and very fine example of metaphor, where he says, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Now let me just briefly talk about the metaphorical aspect of this line. He compares the reason or logic or tark, you can say mind, okay, or brain, the capacity of brain, logic, okay, the logical thinking process. He compares it with clear stream, such nirmal dhara. That means he says, where the clear stream of reason means logic, has not lost its way. So he compares our thought process, okay, as a stream, as a river, you can say, vicharon ki dhara. He says it has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. So the dead habit means the custom, tradition, age old practices, oppressive, regressive practices, ऐसी परंपराएं जो कि आज जिनका कोई महत्व नहीं है. So he compares these age old habits, dead habits, with the dreary desert sand. Okay, that kind of sand which is found in dreary means dried desert, registan, marustal. So now the line has the meaning that where the clear stream of reason, that means where the thinking of people, where the kind of thinking that people have, it is not lost into the age old dead practices which don't have any contemporary relevance. And how this can be done, here he gives an answer. He says this can only be done when the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. So how you can escape from these irrelevant practices, you know, by widening your thought and perspectives, by, you know, making yourself open minded, you know, ready to accept various versions, various perspectives. Okay, that's why he says, where the mind is led forward by thee. Here thee, the, thee is basically a singular form of you. It's a second person pronoun in English. It is the singular form of thee, and thee is the objective form. Okay, so like, you know, you, your, yours, in the same way thou, thee, thy, thine, like, you know, I, me, my, mine, in the same manner. Okay, so please keep this in mind. Where the mind is led, led means, led is the third form of lead. It's guided by you, guided by thee. Thee means God, or you can say the inner voice, आत्म चेतना, आत्मा की आवाज़, जो भी कह सकते हैं. You know, I'm reminded of a beautiful share by some famous poet. I forgot the name. He says, तेरे अंदर जो हरदम गूंजती है, बस वही आवाज़ तो सच बोलती है. So this is the simple meaning, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. That means your thought and your action should never be narrow. It should be open. It should be open-minded. You must keep your mind open to various kinds of experiences, various kinds of perspectives, various kinds of thoughts. Okay, and then he ends the poem by invoking God, calling him as Father. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. He says, into that heaven of freedom. So this, my country be like a heaven. And what kind of heaven? Where there is freedom, you know, freedom of, you know, knowledge, freedom of thinking, you know, all kinds of that. All these beautiful aspects of life are present in that place, where, and this kind of place becomes a heaven of freedom. And then he says, let my country awake. Oh God, let my country awake. Let my country be in a state of freedom. Okay, so my country be free from all kinds of oppressive practices, oppressive strictures, oppressive traditions, not only outside oppression, but okay, inner oppressions as well. Okay, so this is the poem. Thank you very much.